Welcome to video 6 of the SS Aquascapes maintenance series. Now I know that this is probably the episode you guys have been waiting for because it features arguably the favorite tanks on the channel. If you're new to the channel, that is Dragon Valley 1.0, the favorite, and Dragon Valley 2.0, maybe the second favorite. You guys love these aquariums so much, you just won't let me rescape them. So let's take a look at where they're at now, what equipment is running these aquariums, and what we need to do for maintenance. Both of these aquariums are considered 10-gallon aquariums, even though they are 9.7 gallons to be exact. They are front curved corner aquariums, which gives them kind of a unique look. As you can see, you'll see it closer when we zoom in. The measurements of the aquarium is 45 centimeters by 27 by 30 centimeters tall. That is 17.5 inches by 11 inches by 12 inches tall. Both of these aquariums are lit with Hygger 999 lights. It's one of the cheapest lights you can get from Hygger, but as you see, they work pretty well. For filtration, both of the aquariums now have very small Hygger internal filters. It's just a little bit of water movement. These are very established aquariums and could probably go no filter if I'm honest. To make sure that the plants are healthy here, we are injecting CO2 via a liquid CO2 system. This is a single bottle that is split between both aquariums. And I'm also adding liquid fertilizer once per week. Alright, let's take a closer look at each of these aquariums, the plants that are in there, and a little overview of the maintenance that needs to be done. Plant list in this aquarium is some weeping moss up here that you can see. It's also spread throughout the aquarium, which we're going to address. There is some Bucephalandra. I believe it is browny purple, if my memory serves me correct. There's little teeny tiny pieces of Anubias in here. Just a little bit of Anubias nana that you can see right there. The original carpet was a dwarf baby tears, which has moved and kind of migrated around due to the fact that the Liliopsis braziliensis has just taken over as far as the carpet goes. Here's what the aquarium looked like when I first set it up, so you can see it has changed drastically. For livestock in this aquarium, we have a Skittles tank of Neocaridina shrimp. Kind of hard to see. For some reason, all the yellow ones seemed... Oh, there we go. Some yellow ones over here. There's a couple of blue ones in there, but primarily red ones. And then we have 6 CPDs in here. They were moved from the subscriber-built aquarium. And there are 2 autosynclists to help with cleanup and some blue snails. They do what snails do. Moving up to Dragon Valley 1.0, the primary plants in here is going to be some Bucephalandra. The species I don't remember. Could be Brownie Ghost. We have Anubias Nana Golden throughout the aquarium, as you can see here. Taking over kind of the bottom. A little bit of S. repens is fighting for position. Down in the shadows, a little bit of Monte Carlo. Here's a clip of how the aquarium looked when it was full of Monte Carlo. And then moving to the back, which I have trimmed recently, is some Alternanthera rennicky. You can see it kind of poking up in the back there. A little bit of that brown purple. Let's take a moment to appreciate the purling that you see on the right-hand side of your screen. Both these aquariums are purling just fantastic with all of the CO2. If we watch Dragon Valley 2.0 for a little bit, you'll see some large bubbles coming up from the Liliopsis braziliensis. Alright, the aquarium's going to make a liar out of me. There we go, a little bit of a bubble, but quite fun to watch as I sit on my chair here in the living room. Finishing the list of inhabitants in Dragon Valley 1.0 is the main culprit we have to deal with, and that is the Hydrocotyle penitafida. You know, grows like a vine and it just really tries to take over everything. As far as livestock, you can see that there's some Chili rasboras swimming around in there, and some red Neocaridina shrimp. There's also a couple of red snails in there, just your typical ram's horn snails. So now let's talk about maintenance in both of the aquariums. It's really not going to be that much. Again, you guys won't let me change it, so all I'm going to do in Dragon Valley 1.0 is remove some of this penitafida, maybe trim a little bit of Anubias right here in the middle, and that's pretty much it. I'm not going to do a water change. It doesn't need it. I'm going to clean the filter probably, and that's it. For Dragon Valley 2.0, we'll zoom in and take a closer look, but we've got to remove some of the moss that has floated around. Pick that out of the carpet Liliopsis braziliensis. Again, we're probably going to clean the filter. There's a wee bit of staghorn algae we have to address. So as every cliche YouTuber says, without further ado, let's go ahead and do some maintenance. Now let's start with Dragon Valley 2.0 here. This weeping moss looks amazing floating down over the rock. However, for some reason, little pieces of it break off and they end up, say, here in the carpet. It ends up over here in the corner and just grows. I mean, it looks kind of cool, but we have enough moss. We don't need it all over the aquarium. If we move over here to the right, you're going to see it has infiltrated not only the carpeting plants, but the dwarf baby tears as well. As we move up here, you'll see there's just clumps of it hanging onto the Bucephalandra, like absolutely ridiculous, this moss. So let's go in here with some forceps or tweezers or whatever you want to call them, and let's take care of some of this moss. All right, I've got a bucket off camera here. Hopefully you can see with this view. I could zoom into different areas, but I think you kind of get the gist of it. We want to get the whole picture for you guys. We're going to go in here and just pull this moss out. It's pretty easy for the maintenance. You just grab it, give it a little bit of a tug right here. Comes right out of the carpet and stuff. Okay, this one's proving to be a little more difficult. Come on, get out of there. There we go. Now the shrimp love it when you do this because it exposes like some detritus or old nutrients or old food or something, and they just zoom to this area and they go and feast. Sometimes I go in here and just kind of go underneath and pull up with the forceps like that, fish it out of the carpeting plant, and there we go. All right, moving towards the center of the aquarium. This one's pretty easy. It's literally a loose piece of moss that's just been sitting here for a few weeks growing. I'm gonna pull that guy out. And underneath it here, you'll see this big patch of moss. It's really just kind of woven its way into the dwarf baby tears, also into the Liliopsis is underneath it. We're gonna pull this guy out. There is some dwarf baby tears in there, but there's not too much I can do about it. We want to get the moss out. We kind of scoop this up, pull it out. Look at that. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to keep this piece, the dwarf baby tears with the moss. Looks kind of cool. We might put it in another aquarium. I do have some builds coming up, so that'll be a cool thing to use. But you see how we've now opened this area up a little bit. Just looks a little bit better to not have all that moss kind of choking out everything else behind it. I think just on the bottom left of your camera view here, you can see this moss. We're going to grab this moss out of the Liliopsis carpet, pull it out of there. So you're never going to get it perfect, guys, and moss is not a bad thing, but we don't want it to be the primary focus for this beautiful aquascape. In the cave back here, we've got some more moss. We're going to have to bump the brightness up for you to see it, though. You can see right there in the back, we've got a big old chunk of moss. Let's fish that out of there. No pun intended with the fish. Look how loose it was and how easy it came out of there. Just a loose piece of moss that has been growing back there. And we're still not done yet with the moss removal. I love weeping moss, but boy oh boy does it just get everywhere. If we look back here in the back right corner, we can see some more moss. Go ahead and reach in and grab that. Try and lift it up a little bit here. I think I got all of it in one go. Nope, of course not. There's always more moss. Just when you think you have it all, you find more. Just forward of that, we have more moss. Surprise, surprise. Just kind of pull this out here. Oh, I messed up. We got pieces flying everywhere in the aquarium. All right, well, those pieces will find somewhere to sit and propagate again. All right, final bit of moss removal, I'm hoping. It looks like we're probably going to yank out some dwarf baby tears while we do this. There's a piece of Anubias under there. I think that's in frame, but I'll zoom in for you. Look at a little piece of Anubias here trying to grow underneath all that moss. Poor little guy. Let's go ahead and give him some room. Again, there's some dwarf baby tears that's getting pulled out with this, but there's not too much I can do. It is completely woven into the moss. All right, little shrimps, you gotta move. I know you are very excited about me doing this because it exposes all of your good food. You know, if I was smart, I would turn the filter off, but that doesn't make for good YouTube content. So we're gonna go ahead and keep trying to pull this out with the filter running while it blows pieces of moss everywhere. I still got some work to do over here, but let me just show you that this big giant clump in the corner's gotta come out as well. You can see a little bit of oxygen bubbles popping up there from the amazing work that the CO2 system's doing. Pull that guy out, you can see that we have our carpet of dwarf baby tears and Liliopsis brasiliensis. I think these two plants go together very well, and I'm going to let them kind of intertwine. Other than that, really nothing else has changed in the aquarium. We are done with this maintenance. I do think it looks absolutely fabulous, and I do enjoy the aquarium more and more every month as it fills in and develops. Now let's move on to Dragon Valley 1.0. Really not too much to do here except a little bit of trimming. Alright, we're going to start with the Hydrocotyle pentatophyta right up here. Let me go ahead and just pull some of this out. I'm going to do this manually. I do find it's easier to just get in there with your hands and yank some of it out. Now, I do have a bunch of this already being propagated. So, unfortunately, this Hydrocotyle pentatophyta is going to just go in the bin, as they say overseas. We are going to put it in the trash. I always hate to waste plants, but in some instances, I just don't have space for it anymore. After doing this for over a year, I've got plants coming out of my ears. So pull this stuff out. Oh, we lost a piece of boost right there. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside for propagation. Just a couple of more pieces of pentatophyta to remove here. I just think it kind of opens the space up a little bit. The long leaves of the pentatophyta don't really match this scape. When it is a juvenile plant, they have very short leaves and it looks kind of cute. But when you get these long leaves here, just doesn't fit the scape in my opinion. So we're going to pull that stuff out and let the smaller plants kind of grow back in. Okay, what do you think? Pentatophyta or no pentatophyta? I do enjoy the aquascape without so much pentatophyta in there. I really love Boost and I do love Anubias, two of my favorite plants. And I think these two together are just fabulous and it looks amazing. Speaking of amazing, I really don't think we need to do much with this aquascape. It's purling away like crazy. The little shrimp are swimming around. We got the Chili Rasboras swimming around. The only thing that I do see when I'm sitting on my chair and enjoying the aquarium is this piece of Anubias right here. Let me bump the brightness up so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll zoom back out a little bit here so you get some perspective. This piece of Anubias right here just doesn't seem to fit in my mind. So we're gonna trim it out. Got my little aquascaping scissors right here, some spring scissors. Let me see exactly where this is at. It does have some fabulous roots here. I really hate to kind of snip this thing off, but I just feel like it doesn't need to be growing across the front of this aquascape. It's kind of interfering with the Bucephalandra. I snipped it and I still can't get it out of there. We might lose a little bit of boost with this. Make sure that I have this completely cut. I do. It looks like the roots are holding it in place. Shows you kind of how mature this aquascape is. It has been in here for quite a while. Trying not to pull the boost out. Come on. Let's get it. Come on. All right, we got it out of there. Really nice piece of Anubias there, but as you can see, I'm going to pluck this leaf off here. Maybe one more here. We have this awesome Bucephalandra here that's trying to flower. I just like the way that we have the green coming down through this area here, and we have this dark patch of Bucephalandra in the middle. If we zoom out here, I would say that artistically you can agree that the balance of color looks better when we remove that piece of Anubias. You can see that we have this flow of green kind of right down through the middle here and across the floor. A little bit of mix of green and red here, and then you have this red purple here and red purple over on this side. To me, artistically, looks pretty good, and that's why I wanted to remove this piece of Anubias right there. So drop down in the comment, let me know if you agree with that decision. Now there's a couple of leaves here that have some algae on them. I'll try and get a close-up here. You can see that one right in the middle of your screen, and if I pan up, I believe it's this one right here. Very difficult to see, but there's some algae. Focus camera, there we go. There's some algae on that leaf there. Just gonna snip those off, make sure that we're not promoting any algae growth in the aquarium. We're gonna clean the filter and then we're pretty much done. I have to admit, you guys were correct in forcing me to maintain this aquarium and not tear it down. It looks absolutely amazing. Just a little snip there, snip here, little snip there. You know, as I've trimmed this before in previous videos, it really does promote the healthy growth of the plants. And I think it's part of the reason why it's filled in so full is because of the trimming, the balance of light, nutrients, and to be quite frank, I just kind of let it do its thing. Sometimes less is more when you're talking about maintenance. A couple of little trims up top here. Let me just pull this filter out from back in the corner here. You'll see just a little guy. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this cartridge off, change out the filter floss, and drop it back in there. All right, the filter's all cleaned up. We've got better water flow now. You can see that we have some immersed growth out of the top of the aquarium. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it immersed like that. I think it adds a really unique look to this small aquarium. One of the great things about doing maintenance on a mature aquarium like this is when you snip a couple of epiphytes or you remove some foliage that might have been shadowing some plants, the pearling goes crazy. Let's go ahead and get a couple of close-ups for you there, and we'll do an outro, close out this maintenance session for video 6. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the quick maintenance session on both these aquariums. I love it when these aquariums are mature and you really don't have to do much to them. As you guys know, if you're a long-term viewer of the channel, these were set up to be low maintenance where I don't have to do much to them. So do me a favor for the algorithm, drop a comment, let me know what you think about the aquariums. Is it going to be time to rescape it soon? I want to know what you guys think. We got one more day left on this 7-day maintenance series that we're doing here on SS Aquascapes. For those that are a long-term viewer of the channel, or maybe just have a good memory, you'll know the last aquarium that's coming up. It's a big boy. We'll see you on that video. Thanks for watching.